Are you ready for Jesus to show up in your life? You never know when that day is going to happen. In John chapter 9, we have the story of a blind man. He was blind since birth. He never thought he would probably see until Jesus showed up and healed him, put mud on his eyes, told him to wash in the pool of Siloam, and when he obeyed, he was healed. Let's look at some lessons that we can take from John chapter 9 that we may be able to apply to our own life. You see, we need to recognize in this world that God's purposes are greater than our understanding. There's no way in this broken, fallen world that will ever make sense of how things that are broken can be the things that fix us completely and fix us spiritually. It'll never make sense to us that sometimes suffering is not a punishment, but it's an opportunity for God to work in us and through us. Because these disciples were asking, well, who sinned? If this man was born blind, who sinned? His parents or him? And Jesus said, neither one of them sinned. This has happened so the glory of God will be revealed. Something is going to happen in your life. Will you allow God to show his glory through it? Because you see, Jesus is the light of the world, and he brings both physical light and spiritual sight. You see, he healed the man's physical blindness, but he opened it up so he could see spiritually of who Jesus Christ is. If physical things happen to you, and they happen for the good, we need to recognize God and who he is, because that obedience that we have to God is what leads us to transformation. Because in John 9 verse 7 it says, so he went and he washed and he came back seeing. The blind man obeyed and he was healed. But you have to recognize now that you should expect opposition when you follow Jesus. Your spouse may not understand the change that's taking place in your life. She may not understand why you want to take your children to church now. She may not understand why you make the decisions that you do concerning your job and your recreational activities. Your coworkers won't understand possibly why you're not going and hanging out with them anymore, and you don't use the words that you used to use, and you don't go to the places where they used to go. Are you better than them now? That's what they're going to call you on. Why? Are you too good for us now? You goody two-shoes? You see, you're going to get some opposition, just like the Pharisees brought opposition to this blind man. But it doesn't matter. This blind man could now see, because true sight is spiritual and not physical. You see, once we're able to see what God has done in our lives, it becomes a spiritual journey. It's his journey now that we're on, and we know what Jesus has done for us. And that growing faith, when your faith grows, it will lead to worship. You will bow your knees. You will bow your head in allegiance to God Almighty. Jesus Christ will be the one that you want to die for. To live is Christ, and to die is gain, Paul said in Philippians. And this is so beautiful right here. Jesus seeks those who are cast out. Jesus is seeking you right now. You may feel cast out. You may feel rejected. When the world rejects us, Jesus welcomes us. We need to believe that. We need to know that. Let's take that into the world today. Let's go make a difference. Let's make the things that we're going through right now bring about the glory of God.